Deadlock is an incredible game. I truly believe that it's the future, but it is very difficult and overwhelming when you first start out. Many people get turned away before ever seeing the magic that makes this game so good. I've made this guide to hopefully help you avoid that. I'll only teach you what you need to start having fun. No information overload, just the bare bones and a nudge in the direction of your choosing. A sneak peek into how deep the game is and how diverse your playstyle can be. With Deadlock dropping enormous changes every month, I've made this guide as timeless as possible. The information in here should be valid regardless of what changes, and if it's not, I will leave a comment and pin it. If you still need an invite to the game, my Discord is linked in the description. If you go in the Deadlock channel, there are plenty of people who are happy to give out invites. Let's begin. When you first load in, you're greeted with the hideout. There's a table in front where you can choose your game mode, and a chair to the right if you want to try out the in-game tutorials, but they're very outdated. Before we go anywhere, I recommend pressing escape, then swap hero, and just picking one that you think looks cool. You can hover over them to see their images as well as an idea of what they do, and you can even read about their lore by clicking on character backstory on the bottom right. There's some really funny ones. I'm a believer that you can start any game on any character so long as you like their vibe.
I wanted to be a cowboy, baby.
But I'd be lying if I said that you won't have an easier time learning on some heroes than others. Here is a tier list of who I consider to be the best heroes to learn the game on versus the most difficult. Feel free to dive into the most difficult if you really like the vibe of the character and feel confident in your MOBA or FPS abilities, but I do think you'll have a more fun time learning if you choose one that's easier, at least just for your first few games. After you've chosen a hero, if you walk through the doorway on your left, you'll be able to hold tab and hover over each ability to see what they do. You can also see that by upgrading an ability, it becomes more powerful. You upgrade them by holding tab and clicking on the one you want to upgrade, or by holding tab and pressing the key for the one you want to upgrade. Don't worry about what those upgrades do for now, just know that they make you stronger. Punching this thing in the corner gives you no cooldown on your abilities, so you can keep spamming them if you want to. Every character has a double jump, a dash on shift, and a wall jump. Each of these uses stamina, which you can see on this white bar. You can dash any direction you want, and combining a dash with a jump on the right timing does a dash jump, which is just faster than walking. If you attempt a dash jump and press jump too early or too late, it gives you this notification on the bottom letting you know what you did wrong. Tapping your melee key, V by default, performs a light melee, which does a little bit of damage and is useful for finishing off targets if you have to reload. Holding V does a heavy melee, which does much more damage but comes with more risk because you have to charge it up. All melees are parryable. Default bound to F, if you parry someone's melee, light or heavy, they get stunned. Meaning heavy melee, while more rewarding, is riskier because people can react to the animation of you charging it up. Once you're familiar with your abilities, press B to open the shop. You'll see a default build, and if you go to each tab on the left, you will see a ton of items. It looks scary, but don't worry, you don't ever have to open these tabs if you don't want to. If you go to Build Browser on the top right and then select Public, there are tons of pre-made builds to choose from. For now, I recommend avoiding builds that give you too many options like this. These are more for people who know what all the items do and custom tailor them to the situation of their game. For now, I would look for a build with the optional items all in their own category somewhere else like this, or one with no optional items at all. On these builds, you can just purchase things from left to right, starting at the top, no thinking involved. If you are the kind of person who really loves creating your own builds and min-maxing what you buy for every situation, then after you're more comfortable with the game, I would read every ability and ability upgrade in depth, as well as what every item does and how they interact with your abilities. Some top players have also created annotated builds which give you information on why they put which items in the build. Deathy has a great website called deadlockmeta.com, which I'll link in the description. Clicking on a character shows you codes for meta builds, which you can enter on the top right search bar. But while it does provide you an advantage, none of this stuff is necessary. I'm Ascendant even though I just buy stuff left to right on public build guides. And that's the beauty of Deadlock. You can improve in whatever category of the game you find fun, and that will take you very far. Now that you have your build and you know what your abilities do, let's play a game. Head to the table in the front and choose what to queue up for. I recommend a private bot match for your first game because you can pause at any time to follow along with the video, and there's no punishment for leaving. Once you load in and you're on the zipline, go ahead and hit P to pause. You'll notice immediately that at the bottom it says suggested on one of your abilities. Anytime this notification pops up, you should upgrade that ability immediately. You can't do it while paused though, sorry. On the top of your screen, you can see every hero that each team has, as well as their net worth and the team's total net worth. The higher the number is, the stronger they are, so use it to decide whether you fight them or not. If they have a much higher net worth than you probably don't want to take a 1v1 with them, but if you have a much higher net worth than them, you should be looking to fight. On the bottom right, we have a map. There are 3 lanes, symbolized by the colors. People refer to these lanes as blue, yellow, and green. If you're queuing with a friend and you aren't in the same lane, you can request to swap with someone using these buttons at the top. You can also see all the objectives on the map. The circles towards the center are towers, behind those are walkers, and in front of your base are base guardians. In your base, you have shrines and then the patron. On each side of the base, there is a shrine, and you'll know it's a shrine because of the health bar on top of it. The big thing in the middle is the patron, who can only be hurt once the shrines are destroyed. Standing in your spawn heals you and allows you to buy items, but you don't have to be in spawn in order to buy items. Do you see those little squares on the map? That's where you can spend your money, or as it's called in this game, souls. Once you unpause, ride the zipline all the way to the end, then hit pause again. These ziplines are super important. They're the fastest way to get around the map, and you can press jump to get off of them at any time. If you want to get back on, look up at it and hold space, but beware, if an enemy hero shoots you within a couple seconds of you getting on the zip, you get stunned for a really long time. The distance that the zip goes is based on how far your minions are pushed, so if they're all the way at the base guardians, you can zip across the entire map. Once we get to lane, you'll see your shop and your tower. This tower shoots enemy heroes and will protect you, so if you feel unsafe, anywhere behind the tower is a good place to be. You'll also see a wave of minions. Killing these minions gives you souls. You don't have to last hit them, but when they die, a little orb pops out. If nobody shoots the orb, you get the souls. If you shoot the orb, you get the souls. But if the enemy shoots the orb, they get the souls. In your first few games, even against real players, you don't have to worry too much about them stealing your souls, you can just let them fly. But if you hear the deny sound over and over again, focus on shooting the orbs. If you don't even want to give them the chance at shooting the orb, finishing the minion with a melee or a heavy melee gives all the souls automatically. Also, once you kill a minion, you'll see this thing sitting on the floor. If it's not immediately flying towards you, you have to get closer in order to pick it up. You win lane by destroying the other team's tower or just having more souls than them by the end of the laning phase. The most obvious way to get this done is to just kill them, but if they're playing really passive and hiding behind their tower, and you feel like you can't without dying, that's perfectly okay. Just keep killing their minion wave as fast as possible, and this will cause your minion wave to push up and protect you from the tower so you can shoot it. If they keep playing passive, you'll destroy the tower eventually and you win, even if you didn't kill them. This minion with the flag gives you a heal when you kill him, but if that's not enough, you don't have to go back to base. There are several items you can purchase that will heal you while you're in lane. Many build guides have a lane healing category, so buying one item in there will help you a lot. But if your build doesn't have that, head to the green tab and buy healing right. Popping this gives you a lot of healing, but if you get shot by an enemy, it cancels the heal, so be careful. You can of course go back to your base to heal, especially if you have a zipline speed boost which comes up every 5 minutes, but it's a last resort. Try to live off of just the healing minions and your healing item. Also, when you're in lane, every time you can afford to buy an item, you should go buy it. It's really important to be spending your souls as soon as possible. My biggest piece of advice for laning is to just be on the same page as your teammate. If they're fighting, you should be fighting. If they back up to shop, you should back up to shop. Okay, so how long does laning phase last? It's about 10 or 12 minutes, there's no set time, and you also shouldn't be afraid to just stay in your lane for the entire laning phase. You don't have to leave if you don't want to. It's actually kind of hard to do so without it being a net negative. I'd say if you do want to go help another lane, do it as you're spawning in or after you've destroyed the tower in your lane. Don't stay too long though, because the souls in each lane are split between the people in it. The most efficient way to gain souls is 2 in each lane, and having 3 or more in one lane for a long period of time means your team is making less money overall. Once we're around 10 or 12 minutes and a lot of towers are broken and people are moving around, laning phase is over. Now, the goal is to get as rich as possible and take objectives from the other team. There are 2 ways to get souls besides killing waves and enemy heroes: jungling and boxes. You can see where jungle camps are using your map. These green triangles symbolize a camp. There are tier 1, 2, and 3 camps, and you can tell which they are by how many lines there are under the triangle. As the tier gets higher, they're harder to kill and give you more money. Some heroes have an easier time than others farming the jungle, and only a few heroes in the game can efficiently kill tier 3 camps early. On the map, you'll also see a box with a circle inside. This is a sinner's sacrifice and it's very important. They're the highest value jungle camps that you can farm, and any hero can farm them easily because you just farm them by heavy meleeing them. Once you punch them 4 times and the lights on the top all go out, they start filling up again. If you heavy melee it again when all the lights go on, you get 4 stat bonuses. These are super important, so punch as the lights fill every single time. These tiny boxes and statues all over the map give you souls and little stat bonuses if you break them. You'll hear about box roots at some point. Those are really nerdy and you can hit the highest rank in the game without them, so don't feel like it's necessary to run around all day breaking boxes. The best way to think about making souls is priorities. The wave is the first priority, centers after that, then camps, then boxes. You should try to weave in the lower priorities between the higher ones. So for example, jungle in between waves, and break boxes in between killing the jungle. Being very efficient at this will make you the richest person in the lobby. An important thing to note is that any souls you farm from the jungle or boxes are unsecured, meaning if you die, you drop them. So you should always try to spend the unsecured souls before you get into a fight. Actually, in general, spend your money before fighting, even if it's not unsecured, is really good. Which brings us to fighting. There will be a ton of fights, and how do you know whether you should fight or farm? This is a question with infinite depth, and there's no right answer, so I'll give you 2 things to think about, and you'll figure out the rest with time. Are you rich or poor? Rich means fight, poor means farm. How many teammates and enemies are there? If it's a team fight where everyone is involved, you should go. But if it's a 1v4 or a 4v1 and your presence wouldn't make a difference, then don't go. So what should you do once the enemy is dead? If there's not much time, you should take the farm on their side of the map. But if they're dead for 30 seconds or even more, you should take objectives. The highest priority objective is midboss. It's in the very center of the map if you head down the stairs or down the zipline. Killing the mid-boss requires your whole team, but once it's dead, it spawns 3 rejuvenator crystals, and for each crystal your team heavy melees, you all get an extra life, which you can see on the top. Dying with a rejuvenator buff respawns you in place on full HP instantly. It's by far the most important thing in the game, and gives your team the strength to push into their base or a walker even if the entire other team is alive. Sometimes, especially when you're starting out, you'll have to ping mid-boss in order to get your team to do it. The next priority, if there's no mid-boss or there's not enough time to take it, is just taking structures, walkers, shrines, and base guardians. If you feel like you can't take an objective, and you also can't take mid-boss, you could do the urn. It spawns on one side of the map, and picking it up shows you on the map where you need to deliver it. The location you need to deliver it depends on how far or ahead your team is in souls. If you're very far ahead, the delivery location will be further towards their spawn. If you're neutral, it'll be neutral, and if you're very far behind, it'll be further towards your spawn. Delivering the urn gives your team souls. If you're a movement enjoyer, this is a good time to show you another category of this game that you could sink hundreds of hours into. Check out this urn route. It uses a bunch of different crazy movement mechanics that I want to make a video about soon. Every 5 minutes on both sides of the map, a buff spawns. You can pick it up by heavy meleeing it, and it's worth more than an item, so they're very important, although they are temporary. So that's your Deadlock crash course. There is one more thing. I know I said you never have to open the item categories, but you're gonna get into a game where someone on the other team is just Thanos with 10 million souls and it feels awful. When that happens, you have to buy an item to counter them. Curse is a 6400 spirit item and is good against everyone. Debuff Remover is a 3200 vitality item and is one of the most important counter items in the game, especially against Infernus and Bebop. If you're dying to something that feels like a debuff, just buy it, even if you're not sure. If you shouldn't have bought it, it'll feel useless and you'll know for next time. I think in general, that's a good mindset of this game. Don't be afraid to try out new things. If they don't work, well, now you know for next time. Feel free to queue up some more bot games if it makes you feel comfortable, or just send it. The Street Brawl mode is really fun to start out on as well. You get used to fighting and a little taste of what the items do. When you do queue up for a real game, you have to select 3 heroes, but don't worry, you'll still probably get the one you want. By right-clicking once on a hero, it gives it single priority, twice will give you double, and again will give you none. So if you really want to play one hero, set them to double priority and the 2 others to 0 priority. If you don't know anyone else yet, or you're not interested in anyone else, select Haze, Seven, or Infernus as your other 2, because they're extremely popular and it's very rare that you'll get them on low priority. My biggest tip is to just have fun. Find what you enjoy learning and master that skill. Movement, builds, hero mastery, aim, gun heroes, spirit heroes, support heroes, a weird goo guy, hooking people and placing bombs on them, game sense, macro, soul efficiency. There really is something for everyone. And while the game can be frustrating at first, once everything clicks and you're the one carrying with all the souls, it's hard to quit. Oh, I love Mina! I'll be making a lot more guide videos, and if you're interested in Mina, Vindicta, Pocket, Paradox, or Holiday, I play them a ton, so subscribe. Bye bye.